Chapter 107. When Chen Zhonghua got close to Kai Zhongming, Lu Qing couldn't help but cover his eyes, as if he could already imagine what was going to happen next. Little Ming was indeed talented, but he had always been slacking. Not to mention that he had not participated in the special martial arts training before, he had only attended 1 or 2 martial arts classes 3 times a week. Under such circumstances, even if Geyser taught the first part of the 24 blizzard strikes to the other members, it would only enrich his fighting style and not improve his strength. It would only help him to maintain the strength of amateur 5th pin and increase it slightly. If he were to encounter a professional-level master like Chen Zhonghua, no matter how good his mouth was, the result would be predictable. Sure enough, Lu Qing couldn't bear to look at Kai Zhongming being pressed to the ground by Chen Zhonghua, like a girl being ravaged by a strong man. It was extremely tragic. Don't laugh, don't laugh. Lu Qing kept warning himself and put on a sympathetic posture to welcome Kai Zhongming's return. Damn, it's like being raped. Talker, who was at a loss, still mercilessly made fun of himself. Can't help it. Lu Qing chuckled in a low voice and looked at Casanova's sad eyes for a while before calming down. He said with a serious face, "Now do you understand the value of practicing day after day? With your talent, it won't be a big problem for you to reach amateur 3rd or 4th pin after a semester of special training. Do you understand now? Do you know it's time to practice martial arts?" Yes. King want to quit the martial arts club now. After this battle, my handsome and dashing image is completely gone. Kai Zhongming sighed and said with a hopeless expression, "Fortunately, it's the special training now and only a few of you saw it. Otherwise, I'd be too ashamed to face anyone." Lu Qing pretended to be serious and said, "As the saying goes, 1 spreads to 10, and 10 spreads to 100. We have more than 10 people here." Kai Zhongming was stunned and said, "Just strangle me." At this time, Geyser coughed twice and said, "Yes, after the special training last semester, you guys have made significant progress. Some of you have even improved a few pins. But don't be complacent. It's nothing strange in the amateur ranks. Well, I announced the 3rd main force of the preliminaries. Sun Jian, you have to practice hard and strive to reach amateur 1st pin as soon as possible. The substitutes are Li Mao, Lin Hua, Yan Zhike, and Guiqing. Everyone else, continue to work hard." Hearing this, Lu Qing couldn't help but look at Yan Zhike again. His eyes were full of joy, and he wanted to congratulate her for making it into the preliminaries team. Yan Zhike also looked at him. She lifted her chin slightly and looked happy. When their eyes met, the atmosphere was harmonious and warm. Geyser continued, "From today onwards, I'll teach you the rest of the 24 blizzard strikes. Guiqing, your temperament isn't very suitable for this style of fighting. In order not to waste your strength and talent, I'll teach you a new boxing style which is known for its strength and fierceness. It's called a mountain-moving fist. Although the 24 blizzard strikes is also known for its fierceness, its kung fu is delicate in its subtleties, state of mind, and perception. These are all your weaknesses. We have to hide our weaknesses and show our strengths, right? Coach, sure, I'll listen to you." Guiqing replied energetically. Losing to Yan Zhike made Guiqing a little depressed. After all, Yan Zhike's strength was obviously not as good as hers last semester. But in just a few months, her achievements in the 24 blizzard strikes were surpassed by Yan Zhike. How could she be happy? When Coach said that it was because she wasn't suitable for it, Guiqing smiled again, which made Yan Zhike secretly relieved. Lu Qing couldn't be more familiar with the content of the latter part of the 24 blizzard strikes. With his proficiency, he was able to teach others. But he still listened attentively and watched very carefully. As for the lesson that Coach gave to Guiqing, he also listened attentively. It was not a bad thing to master more kung fu. Even if he didn't focus on it, he could still enrich his own fighting style. If he really mastered it, he might be able to restrain the enemy with mountain-moving fist. Still stance practice, training routine, deduction of fighting style, strength training, footwork training. Time flew quickly in the atmosphere of concentration. In the end, it was still the practice of practicing moves. Except for Kai Zhongming, who gave it to Chen Zhonghua, all the combinations were the same. But Lu Cheng and Li Mao's roles were reversed. It was Lu Cheng who practiced the moves and helped Li Mao master the latter part of the 24 blizzard strikes. In the process, he also learned a lot. From a different perspective, he could see many problems that he had neglected before. Li Mao was like a mirror, reflecting some of his bad fighting habits one by one. Tempering was not only about tempering, but also about hammering. Through continuous hammering, the impurities were forced out little by little in order to achieve perfection. This was one of the methods. When it was close to noon, Geezer Shi announced the end of today's special training. Lu Qing and Kai Zhongming gathered together, nervously looking at Yan Zhike's figure. "Why are you so nervous?" Kai Zhongming looked at him with disdain. Lu Qing took a breath and said, "I'm going to ask her when she's free. I'm going to ask her whether the 14th or 16th is better. The 14th is Valentine's Day. Will it be too direct? Will it cause any bad reaction?" Kai Zhongming laughed and said, "What's there to be nervous about? But if you keep your nervous state and ask her, the effect may be better." "Why?" Lu Cheng was puzzled. In this field, Kai Zhongming was qualified to be his professor. Kai Zhongming spread his hands and said, "Think about it. A calm and fierce young expert who just shook the world in the arena is nervous and uneasy because of you. How cute is this contrast? I bet that most girls will like this. Damn, you even know how to use the word cute." Lu Qing thought carefully and felt that it was very reasonable, but he did not admit defeat. Kai Zhongming smiled proudly and said, "I'm a veteran of the internet." Lu Qing plucked up his courage and walked quickly to Yan Zhike. When he was in front of her, Guiqing snickered and said, "Here you go again. You can talk. I won't disturb you." With a swoosh, Lu Qing felt that he was probably blushing. He instinctively operated the condensation stance, trying to suppress his emotions. But when he saw Yan Zhike's pretty face also blushing, which contrasted with her jade-like skin, he felt a buzz in his head. The condensation stance he just used was smashed into pieces. Yan Zhike's beautiful eyes sparkled and she spat, "Don't listen to Qing's nonsense. Yes, yes." Lu Qing nodded repeatedly and blurted out nervously, "I've chosen several delicacies in Songqing. I'm going to try them this afternoon and confirm one. Do you think you're free on the 14th or 16th? Just when he finished, he wanted to slap himself again. Didn't Casanova say that he should wait for Yan Zhike to ask and then mention it casually? Why did he say it directly? No matter how good the plan is, it can't withstand the impromptu performance. On time. Taste the food. Yan Zhike repeated in a low voice. Her dimples were faintly discernible. She pursed her lips and glanced at the expectant and nervous Lu Qing with a smile in her eyes. She muttered to herself, 14th, 14th. Suddenly, she lowered her head to avoid Lu Cheng's eyes. Her ponytail swayed and her cheeks were still red. Seeing this, a poem flashed in Lu Cheng's mind again. It was the tenderness of lowering one's head, like the shyness of a lotus flower in the cold wind. After spending so much time with Yan Zhike, my literary attainment seems to have improved. When he was trying to ease his anxiety with self-mockery, Yan Zhike said softly, "I'm afraid the 14th can't work. I have classes in the afternoon and evening. How about Saturday? I have nothing to do except martial arts training." Okay. Seeing that Yan Zhike's attitude was not cold, Lu Qing was happy and quickly agreed. After saying that, he thought of what had happened before and added, "When I was fighting just now, I didn't mean to. It was purely because my mind was empty and I subconsciously used it. Yenjika raised her head. Her cheeks were red and her dimples were shallow. I wanted to scare you again, but I didn't. So it's like this, unknowingly, he completely understood the ins and outs of his brother-in-law. Does this count as a girl helping her husband? Thinking of this, he remembered something and said, didn't I say I would be your sparring partner? How about I tell Coach Sher tomorrow and ask him to change our group? No. That's too embarrassing. Yenjika blurted out. Then she softened her tone and said with a smile, if you really want to be my sparring partner, then take an hour on Saturday and Sunday. An hour on Saturday and Sunday. I can spend time with Yenjika in private every weekend. Lu Cheng was ecstatic. He couldn't hide his smile and said, good. Absolutely no problem. Yenjika turned her head and looked to the side. She slightly lowered her head and said with a smile, well, I'm going to take a shower first. You should go too. You smell like sweat, okay. Lu Cheng nodded repeatedly and watched Yenjika enter the female locker room. When he walked back quickly, he felt like he was stepping on clouds and was about to ascend to immortality. We, the common people, are so happy today. Chapter 108. Back in the men's locker room, Lu Cheng entered the bathroom. Showered with hot water, Lu Cheng couldn't help but hum a little tune to wash away his physical and mental fatigue. He changed his clothes and dried his hair with a towel. When he came out, only Kai Zhongming was there. Not bad. You look happy. Little Ming, who was a little impatient from waiting, teased him. Ha ha. Lu Cheng answered with a laugh. Kai Zhongming sighed. People have to experience a pure, burning, heartfelt feeling once in their life. Only when they don't consider other feelings can they be considered complete. You should cherish it. If you fall in love again in the future, you won't be so attentive and unreserved. Lu Cheng frowned. Why do you say I'll fall in love again? Wouldn't it be better to maintain such pure feelings until the very end? Don't you want to get a girlfriend for marriage? Kai Zhongming laughed and said, how can feelings be so simple? It's only the beginning when you get her. There will be friction and twists and turns. This is an era full of temptation. It's hard to stay with your first love until the end. I'm just giving you a heads up. Two people will not only get along well. I believe that as long as both parties can communicate well, are willing to work hard, and know how to tolerate each other, it's still possible. Lu Cheng answered seriously. Kai Zhongming's mouth twitched. He patted him on the shoulder. I feel that we have a communication barrier. After filling his stomach in the cafeteria, Lu Cheng embarked on the journey to check out the location. After throwing himself in the window seat of the school bus, he took out his phone and logged into QQ as if there was no one else around. Have you set off? Covering mouth expression, Yenjika laughed. Just got on the bus. Lu Cheng's expression softened instantly. Yenjika didn't mention it again. She sent a fist clenched and crying expression. I feel very tired today, much more tired than before. My waist and back are aching, Lu Cheng hurriedly rubbed her head and said, maybe it's because you woke up early to train. Yeah, I didn't just train. Yenjika replied with a, who am I, where am I, what am I doing, emoji. Lu Cheng smiled and asked with concern, why don't you wake up early and stop your training? With your physiques, 4 hours of special training is more than enough. Any more and it will cause fatigue and injury. I'm not saying that your physiques are bad, but I'm saying that you don't have an abnormal endurance like mine. If you really can't take it, just stand still for half an hour in the morning and rest up. It's good enough. Yenjika sent an emoji of rubbing her chin with her right hand and said, that makes sense. I can be more intimate with the bed. I'll wake up at 7 o'clock tomorrow and stand still for half an hour on the balcony of the dormitory. Otherwise, I'm afraid that I won't be able to listen to the afternoon and evening classes. Coach Yen is really good at following good advice. Lu Qing complimented her again and said, I found that my appetite has grown again. I ate 50 cents worth of rice today, but I feel like I didn't eat at all. Although I have to save my stomach for punctuality, I reckon that I won't be able to fill my stomach if I don't eat at all in the future. And that's not including the dishes. Squatting in the corner and drawing circles expression, Yenjika replied, Me too. I used to be a girl with a delicate appetite. But now, I'm too embarrassed to order from the same window. This window gives me 30 cents, another window gives me 30 cents, and finally another window gives me 20 cents. That's a total of 80 cents worth of rice. I feel like a rice bucket, then what am I? 2 rice buckets. A rice pot. Lu Qing replied with a smile, ignoring the glances of the people beside him who were curling their lips and sizing them up. Once he started chatting, time flew. He arrived at the old campus of Songqing University before he even looked up at the scenery. He found the first target through online taxi hailing, Ding Shang Spicy Crab. It was already past 1 o'clock and the peak of the afternoon market had ended. Lu Qing didn't have to wait long before he got to his seat. Seeing that he was alone, the waitress was slightly surprised and blurted out, Sir, how many of you are there? Do you need to wait until everyone is here? Just one. Lu Qing smiled awkwardly but didn't back down. This was a sacred task. The waitress couldn't help but take another look at Lu Qing, as if she was looking at a single dog exuding a scent of loneliness. She didn't ask further and smiled politely, What kind of crab do you want? We have several grades. The cheapest is 99 cents per catty and the most expensive is 499 cents. Lu Qing was quite frugal with himself. He looked at the label on the outside of the water tank and said, 199 cents. Give me 2. According to Qin Mo's introduction, this was a semi-hot pot type. First, one could fry the crab with spicy rice cakes, lotus root slices and other spicy things. After eating the meat inside, one could add soup to boil it and cook some shrimp dumplings, beef, handmade noodles and other things. Crabs alone couldn't fill one's stomach. After ordering, he was led to his seat by the waitress. Along the way, he looked around and observed the environment. According to Little Ming, if it was the first time you asked a girl out for a meal, you shouldn't choose an environment that was too noisy, too crowded or too noisy. Otherwise, the taste of the food wouldn't be able to offset the bad impression, unless it was really too delicious. A table for 2, a table for 4 and a table for 2 on both sides of the large table with a space in the middle. The environment is okay. Lu Qing nodded with satisfaction and waited for the spicy crab to be served. He was quite satisfied with this meal. The stir-fried crab was very fragrant, and the spicy taste was slightly sweet. It was very appetizing, and it was very suitable for his taste. After that, the handmade noodles cooked by the hot pot were smooth and tender. It could also be considered a delicacy. She should like it. Comparing their tastes, Lu Qing thought happily. After paying the bill, he hurriedly left the place and searched for the surrounding shops. Because he still had to try out 2 more shops, time was tight, so he did not leisurely stroll around. Instead, he started running, ignoring the gazes of the passers-by, constantly looking left and right. Normally, running like this would inevitably bump into pedestrians or electric poles. However, it was as if he had a lot of eyes. He could always slip and avoid in time, running through the flowers without taking any fragrance away. Does this count as a different kind of martial arts training? He thought with slight satisfaction. Behind the shopping mall 300 meters away, Lu Qing found a quiet and romantic cafe. He sat down and carefully tasted the drinks and snacks here. Yenjika once said that she didn't like coffee, but she seemed to really like milk tea. There were several varieties here. Lu Qing looked at the cups of drinks in front of him and suddenly felt a great pressure on his bladder. He was quite satisfied with the environment here. It was not like the Starbucks at the entrance of the shopping mall. Not only was there a lot of people, but the seating arrangement was also not hidden. It gave people the feeling that they had entered McDonald's or KFC. It was not at all suitable for a date, nor was it cool. After running 100 meters to the left of the cafe, Lu Qing found a cake shop. He walked back and forth, identifying different kinds of bread. He picked a few varieties that Yenjika usually mentioned and bought them. Then he sat down and started to eat directly. The quality is not bad. He touched his belly and thought with satisfaction. Lu Qing took the elevator to the 5th floor of the mall. He looked at the posters of the upcoming movies and asked the staff about them. He had a preliminary impression of each movie and whether the tickets were easy to buy or not. If she wants to watch a movie, I can introduce it to her directly and leave an impression that I have my own opinion and know what it is. He imagined the scene of the date freely. Finally, Lu Qing also studied the nearby bus routes in case he couldn't get a taxi or a car online. He couldn't let the girl stand there and wait, right? He was busy the whole afternoon, running here and there. His stomach was full, but his spirit was very excited. Chapter 109. You are Lu Qing. Shu Rui opened her mouth slightly. She believed that if she was drinking water, she would have spat it out. How could a silly boy who was just a passerby in last year's interview suddenly become the main force of Songqing University Martial Arts Club in the preliminaries? He should be at least of amateur 1 or 2 pin. Could it be that she was wrong? But she had been in the ring for a year and mainly participated in martial arts competitions. She had seen more than 50 local masters, if not 100. How could the silly Lu Qing be like that? The surrounding martial arts club members were also talking about it. They didn't expect that a classmate who was easy to get along with and diligent in teaching was actually one of the main forces of the martial arts club. You really can't judge a book by its cover. Lu Qing saw that the reporter didn't believe him and laughed. Do you want me to show you my student ID? Shu Rui came back to herself from the shock and suddenly felt that this was a very valuable material. She immediately became excited. No, you can't lie about this kind of thing. Wouldn't it be clear if he asked Coach her later? Lu Qing, I feel that you have a lot of stories. Can I do an exclusive interview with you? Lu Qing didn't want to expose himself in front of the camera, so he found an excuse. But it's training time now, it's okay. Lu Qing, just accept the interview. It's worth the publicity that our martial arts club has a master. The teacher next to them persuaded. Shu Rui pointed at the strength training gymnasium. How about this? I'll help you apply to Coach Shi. If he doesn't agree, we'll find another opportunity later. Okay. Lu Qing decided to tell his teacher first and ask him to turn down the interview. A group of people immediately moved to the strength training gymnasium, leaving Kai Zhongming standing there in a daze and complaining to himself. What about the interview one by one? After entering the strength training gymnasium, Lu Qing quickened his pace and approached Geezer Shi first. He lowered his voice and said, Master, there are reporters who want to interview me. Can you help me block them? Geezer Shi snorted. Isn't it good to be interviewed? As long as you can keep improving, there will be a lot of similar things in the future. You need to learn to deal with the media. Anyway, your experience of starting from scratch will be discovered in the future. Why don't you take the initiative to tell them? Lu Qing listened thoughtfully and nodded slightly. All right then. When he walked to the corner of the strength training gymnasium with Shu Rui and the cameraman, he glanced at Yenjika subconsciously. He saw the girl looking at him with a smile. Her eyes sparkled like water, and she made a gesture of encouragement. His heart warmed, and his resistance to the interview faded a little. Lu Qing, relax a little. Chapter 110. As an art student, Yan Xiaoling didn't need to attend the tutoring for the senior year of high school. When her classmates started to leave early and come back late, she was still lying in bed, happily playing with her mobile phone. Beside her ears was music from her laptop. It was an old song, White Moonlight. After playing for a while, she returned to the BBS with a strong sense of responsibility. She planned to patrol the BBS to avoid being polluted by people with small advertisements. Songqing TV station's exclusive interview with Lu Qing, the preview. As soon as she switched to the BBS, she was stunned. Her eyes were wide open like a surprised cat. Her hands moved faster than her brain. Before she recovered her ability to think, she had already clicked in and played the video. Do you know what kind of person Lu Qing is? What is his strength? Is he of professional ninth pin? I can't answer these questions. As she watched, Yan Xiaoling's expression unconsciously changed into a smile. She let out a joyful voice alone. It's really Lu Qing. It's really Lu Qing. Ha, so funny. Asking who is Lu Qing in front of Lu Qing, he didn't know martial arts half a year ago. Unconsciously, the short preview finished playing. Yan Xiaoling was rolling with joy and reverberating with surprise. She couldn't control herself and quickly replied to the post of lush natural light, good people live a peaceful life. It's really our Lu Qing. Ah, hey, he's really a very warm boy. After replying to 3 messages in a row, she found Brahman on QQ and hurriedly said, "Quick, go to the BBS post, the first one. The first one outside of the top." After sending the message, she suddenly felt that it wasn't enough to express her excitement and joy. She simply changed the mode to voice and aimed it at her mouth. Ha 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 ha, I'm so happy. I finally saw the news of Lu Qing. He's really very warm, very warm, very warm. Important things must be said 3 times. Before he entered the challenge tournament, he was actually a super rookie with no actual combat experience. He only learned martial arts for half a year. So awesome. I'm so happy. I'm covering my face and rolling around. Don't ask me how I did it. After a while, Brahman wiped her cold sweat and said, I didn't expect you to be so love-struck. I always thought you were the soft and cute type. Speaking up to this point, she also sent a voice message. Using the crisp voice of a young girl, she said, Little Nightfall, you're lying. Your voice is clearly that of a primary school student, yet you lied to me and said that you're a third-year high school big sister. Yan Xiaoling was in a good mood, so she didn't care about it. She coughed and said in a broadcasting voice, You have to allow others to be born with a childlike voice. Just wait for me to enter Songqing University in the second half of the year. Humph, I'll wait. After the successful confession, Lu Qing felt that his face had become thicker and thicker. In the past, he had dared to say a few ambiguous and suggestive words, but now he could say such mushy words without blushing or panting. Yenjika replied with a smiley face and asked, Then why do you like me? What do you like about me? I don't know why I like you. At first, when I passed by your class to look at the pretty girls, I was just admiring them. Later on, I realized that I would unconsciously look at the beautiful figure diagonally in front of me. I would always quiet down and listen attentively when others mentioned you. I would always guess what rank you got when the grade was announced. That was when I suddenly realized that I like you. Lu Qing didn't embellish his words and spoke from the bottom of his heart. Without waiting for Yenjika's reply, he continued to type. At that time, maybe I was just admiring a perfect girl and projected all the beautiful thoughts in my heart on you. I was moved by myself and hinted at myself. But after I really got to know you, I realized that you are a real girl with your own feelings and shortcomings. However, the more I know you, the more I find that I like you. I like you who always pursed your lips and smiled. I like you who unconsciously turned your head to one side when you showed your emotions. I like you who was elegant and delicate. I like you who was lively and cheerful inside. I like you who didn't put on airs and liked to joke. I like you who was obsessed with martial arts. I like you who grew up with me. I like you who analyzed my enemies for me. I like you who sang and cheered for me. I like you who didn't like to be pestered by boys. I like you who liked to laze in bed. I like you who would occasionally throw tantrums. I like you who wanted to improve your martial arts but didn't dare to. I like you so much. I like you so much. After typing this pile of words, Lu Qing looked back and was a little surprised. When did I unlock the love words as skill? Is this what it means to say that every word and sentence comes from love? After a while, Yenjika replied, "It's all because of you. My face is so red and hot, and my eyes are a little wet. My roommates are coming back soon. I'll go wash up and put on my face. I won't let them find out, so they won't gossip." Okay, go quickly," Lu Qing said with uncontrollable joy. When he looked up, he was suddenly stunned because the whole classroom was empty, except for a few students studying by themselves and Kai Zhongming standing in front of him. "Class is over?" Lu Qing asked blankly. Kai Zhongming spread his hands and smiled. "Obviously. Why didn't I know?" Lu Qing said subconsciously again. "How could you know when you're so obsessed with love that you can't extricate yourself?" Kai Zhongming raised his eyebrows. "Look at you, you're itching to go out and run a few laps naked. Did you have a breakthrough?" "And when I'm practicing endurance, I can run far away. I can buy Yenjika a breakfast that's not from the cafeteria on the way. Hee hee. When I figure out what kind of breakfast she likes in Songqing, I can implement it." Excited, he practiced harder and harder. Seeing this, Geyser was stunned. He always felt that his stupid disciple had taken something like strength pill or stimulant. While punching and kicking, Lu Qing visualized the image of thunderclouds shaking, which moved his throat and chest and pulled his internal organs, making a sound similar to thunder. With the tremor force in the training method, he shook his bones and marrow little by little. Step by step, he tempered the hard-to-reach parts of his body. Unconsciously, the morning practice time was over. He hurriedly ate breakfast and couldn't wait to fly to the martial arts arena, because he could see Yenjika. As soon as he stepped into the door, his eyes were like a radar. He looked over and met Yenjika's eyes. Yenjika suddenly avoided his eyes and lowered her eyes. Her long black eyelashes trembled and her cheeks flushed. But she quickly looked up and glanced at Lu Qing. Then she turned her head to the side in a flirtatious manner. Lu Qing didn't know why he also blushed. He knew that girls were thin-skinned and hadn't fully adjusted, so he didn't recklessly greet her. Instead, he returned to his seat and peeped at her from time to time. And he could always catch Yenjika's eyes, which filled his heart with tacit understanding and sweetness. For the whole morning, the two of them looked at each other like this. Time flew by quickly, and they were about to enter the final part of their training. At this time, Geyser coughed and said, "The preliminary schedule has been drawn up. More than 20 teams from Songqing have signed up and formed a division with several surrounding cities. There are 4 groups of 8 to 9 teams in each group. They will fight in a single round and draw lots to decide the home and away games. The top 2 teams with the best records will advance and compete with the other teams in the other groups for 2 places in the division. We are in the third group with 8 teams. That is to say, no matter whether we can advance or not, we can fight 7 games. Our first opponent is the local Hongluo Martial Arts School in Songqing on the afternoon of the 17th. We will be the away game. I will send the video materials to the members who will participate in the preliminaries. You can think about it in these 2 days. Hearing this, Lu Qing was refreshed. He was in high spirits and eager to have a try. Friends of Hongluo Martial Arts School, please feel my happiness and excitement. It's boring to just eat crabs. Yan Zhike said seriously. Lu Qing thought about it and agreed. So he said with a smile, Coach Yan, you are so comprehensive. Of course. Yan Zhike raised her chin and smiled. They found a quiet place and sat down. As usual, they chatted about various things. It seemed that they had endless topics to talk about until the waiter brought the spicy crab to them. The aroma filled their nostrils. Lu Qing made a gesture to let Yan Zhike taste it first. Seeing the girl pick up a piece with a smile and nibble it gently, he suddenly felt a little nervous. He was worried that it would not be to her taste. Yan Zhike sucked the meat out of the crab leg skillfully. She closed her eyes and said with a smile, it tastes really good. The sweetness of the crab meat is not lost, and the spiciness is very appetizing. Phew. Lu Qing was relieved as if he had been praised. He said with a smile, then you eat more. Don't just watch. You are the main force who can eat 5 yuan of rice. Yan Zhike joked with a smile. After finishing the spicy crab and rice cake, she was waiting for the hot pot to boil. She asked with great interest, Qing, what kind of fighting style are you going to use tomorrow? Lu Qing had already thought about it. He said after some consideration, if Hongluo Martial Arts School paid attention to this, they would have searched for my name. That is to say, they should know my fighting style and my strengths, except for the power of blaze. Since it's a martial arts competition, I will definitely try my best. I don't want to leave my trump card for the future. So, as long as I fight, I will use the power of blaze to open the way and try to defeat the opponent quickly. When the second opponent loses the element of surprise, I want to pretend to move with mercurial balance. Once I find an opportunity, I will immediately suppress them with 24 blizzard strikes. I won't give them any chance to break out. How could he not try his best in an official competition in front of the girl he loved for the first time? Yan Zhike rested her cheek on her left hand and listened attentively. Her eyes seemed to be shining. After discussing the fighting style for a while and eating the hot pot, they paid the bill with full hearts. Because of the discount, they spent more than 900 yuan. For Lu Qing, who was rich and generous, after participating in the Warrior Sage Challenge tournament, it didn't cause any heartache. Instead, he felt that it was worth it. As long as the girl was satisfied. After leaving the restaurant, Lu Qing unconsciously coughed and pretended that nothing had happened. Let's go to the shopping mall over there. It's good for digestion. Okay. Yan Zhike didn't object. The two of them walked side by side. The girl's scent, which was both clear and musk, entered Lu Qing's nose, making him feel impulsive and expectant. She handed it to him and said with a smile, you didn't sweat so much even when you were in the challenge tournament. Lu Qing took the tissue and wiped the sweat on his right hand. He felt a sense of loss and emptiness. He felt that his performance today was not good enough. They probably wouldn't have the chance to hold hands again. He had to wait for the next time. At this moment, he suddenly felt a softness in his palm. The girl's cold left hand reached over and gently held the edge of his palm. This. Lu Qing was wild with joy. He held her hand tightly and looked up. He saw Yan Zhike turn her head to the other side. Her delicate ears were red and the skin on the side of her face was as smooth as jade. There was a touch of soul-stirring redness. P.S. When I was writing this chapter, a song that I used to listen to often echoed in my mind. The first time I held your hands, I lost my way and didn't know where to go. Ugh, did I reveal my age? P.S. 2. I had something to do today, so I was running around outside. 2 chapters will be released at the same time. There will be no more chapters tonight. But this is a good time to release them at the same time. I wrote the main point of the date and revealed the first opponent of the preliminaries. As for why I didn't release it as an extra chapter, it was because after 2 months of courting death, I successfully ran out of chapters. I'm finished. Chapter 114. Lu Qing felt that he would never forget the scene in front of him. The girl's shyness occupied his sight and filled his heart. Holding the delicate hand that seemed like it would slip away at any moment, he wanted to say something to express the joy and excitement in his heart, but he forced himself not to. Yenjika plucked up her courage and dared to hold his hand. It was better to let her calm down at this time. The more he said, the more he confessed, the more pressure she would feel. She might even get angry out of embarrassment. An elder said it well, keep quiet and you can make a fortune. Let's go that way. Lu Qing pretended that nothing had happened and identified the direction, but his right hand that was holding Yenjika's hand tightened and held it firmly. Okay. Yenjika answered in a low voice. Lu Qing stepped forward happily without looking at her, giving her time to recover. The whole way was as light as a feather, like a couple returning home together. When they arrived at the cake shop he had chosen, they didn't talk much, but their hands unconsciously intertwined. The fresh cream cake here is very good. It's not too sweet and it's not greasy. I think it suits your taste. Do you want to take one back for breakfast tomorrow? Lu Qing introduced it to Yenjika, trying to encourage her to go in. Yenjika's black and soft eyebrows moved slightly, and she asked in confusion, how do you know the fresh cream cake here is good? Lu Qing wanted to say that he had tasted it, but suddenly he felt that it would make her feel touched. After holding hands with her, any further intention to go further could cause pressure to her. After all, she didn't like him very much and completely let down her guard, completely accepting the relationship. If he pushed too much, it could easily cause problems. So he paused and said, I checked it on the internet and happened to see it. Checked it on the internet. Yenjika repeated in a low voice and looked up at the shop sign, Mimi Bread. She seemed to be moved by Lu Cheng's description and didn't refuse. She happily entered the shop and chose a fresh cream cake for herself. She also bought 5 pieces of meat floss bread for Lu Qing. Lu Qing had mentioned that his favorite bread was meat floss when they talked about snacks on QQ. After paying the bill, Lu Qing pretended to be calm. He took the girl's hand again and intertwined his fingers with hers. When Yenjika also held his hand, he secretly felt relieved. Feeling the beauty of intertwining fingers, he carried the cake and bread, chatted casually, and led the girl to another predetermined place. Are you tired? The environment here seems to be quite nice and quiet. Shall we go in and have a seat? When they arrived, Lu Qing pretended to be observing and pointed at the coffee shop. He added, this kind of shop usually has more than just coffee. Hearing that, Yenjika covered her mouth and chuckled. She turned around and walked 2 steps. Then she stopped and turned back. She smiled shyly and timidly, Qing, I had a very good time today. Without waiting for Lu Cheng's reply, she quickened her pace and entered the dormitory like a nimble white rabbit. When she was about to enter the door of the unit, she turned around and looked at Lu Qing, who was still staring blankly at her. She smiled. When Yenjika's back disappeared in the corridor, Lu Qing smiled gently and said in a low voice, I'm also very happy, 100 times happier. In a room on the second floor of Hongluo Martial Arts School, the schoolmaster Wang Hui, whose white hair was tinged with silver, asked the three men beside him, "Have you found any information about Lu Qing of Songqing University Martial Arts Club?" The one with no rank. Jiang Guoxing had been practicing martial arts for many years. His appearance, which was not outstanding, had become somewhat masculine. He sat upright and said, "We've checked. He's not an ordinary person. He participated in the Phoenix Cup Warrior Sage Candidate Challenge tournament and made it to the top 8. He can defeat a professional 9th pin fighter after only half a year of practicing martial arts. It shows his talent and strength. He's not better than Lin Ke, but we can't underestimate him." Wang Hui nodded slightly and looked at the other man with a smile. "Qingyun, you've met your match. Songqing is big, but also small. There are only a few young people with potential." Jiang Guoxing looked over as well, looking at the young man with sharp eyes. This was the last disciple of his master, Pan Qingyun, who had just turned 20 and practiced martial arts for less than 2 years. He had already reached the level of amateur first pin. But according to the usual practice, he believed that he had already reached the level of professional 9th pin. He was just waiting for the ranking event. In this preliminaries, he was the secret weapon of his martial arts school. He would give Songqing University Martial Arts Club a surprise. A team with 3 professional 9th pin fighters was capable of competing for a place in the division. Pan Qingyun said calmly, "I've seen his competition videos. His weaknesses are as clear as his strengths. He's the kind of fighter who can defeat a professional 9th pin fighter if he performs well. But once restrained, he can even lose to an amateur 1st or 2nd pin fighter. I'm sure I can beat him." The rest of them went to school normally. After all, a reasonable and well-functioning society undoubtedly needed talents in all aspects. Not only martial artists, but also some professions, such as scientists, were more important than martial artists. After this round of selection, unless one's family was rich and was willing to pay the expensive cost of practicing martial arts, most people would give up on practicing martial arts. They would treat it as a hobby and focus on other aspects. Because of this, Lu Qing, who had followed this normal path to study, had very few martial arts practitioners around him. Most of them were amateurs. Most of the special martial arts schools were established by the government. Relying on the resources and organizational ability that were better than all the martial arts clubs, they constantly created a large number of martial artists who were not inclined to any force in this way to enrich the military, police, and other violent departments. In view of this, Shangqing Sect, Longhu Club, and other forces also set up their own martial arts schools to train a large number of reserve disciples. Jin Tao, the Invincible Punch, was a student of Jiku branch of Haiyuan Martial Arts Academy. However, even though there were many martial arts schools, compared to the number of suitable martial artists, they were still a drop in the bucket. Only the best could be admitted, and there were bound to be cases of missing talents. Some people were even slow to show their talent. They could only slowly show their talent at the age of 14, 15, 17, or 18. This gave the martial arts club a chance to carry out a second round of selection. Martial arts schools were backward when it came to nurturing a large number of martial artists. However, if there were only a few dozen elite disciples, it would be like a sect's master-disciple inheritance, which was better than a martial arts school. Therefore, it had produced many famous experts, which made many young people with dreams abandon the martial arts school without hesitation after they couldn't enter a sect's martial arts society or other big forces. They threw themselves into the arms of martial arts schools. Therefore, the martial arts club, with the talented disciples as the core, even began to pay them a certain amount of salary after they had reached the level of amateur first pin to maintain their strength. Then, through advertising, preliminaries, local challenge tournaments, and other ways to make a name for themselves and attract amateurs and rich disciples. This was not only a monetary gain, but also a chance to find talents who had been buried for various reasons. It was also a way to expand one's network and get other opportunities to make money. On the surface, it was martial arts, but on the inside, it was a business. As a business, it would be strange if they were not interested in the preliminaries that were broadcasted by the local and surrounding TV stations. Who didn't like the advertisements that didn't pay? Humming a pop song, Lu Qing returned to the dormitory. He felt a little tipsy and only felt that everything was wonderful. He couldn't wait to let everyone be as happy as he was. He knocked on the door of the small dormitory next door and was not surprised to see that the rich second-generation Qin Mo and Mao Yuanxing, who had brought his girlfriend, were not there. Only Tang Wen, who was addicted to games, was diligent. He almost forgot the date of last semester's exam because of this. If it weren't for the people around him who reminded him, he would have definitely failed with this ridiculous reason. Of course, without doubt, he still failed 3 subjects and was preparing for the makeup exam at the beginning of the school term. "Where's Talker?" Lu Qing asked. Tang Wen, who was addicted to studying, was stunned. After thinking carefully, he said, "I think he went to the balcony to call his girlfriend." "Oh." Lu Qing calmed down and vaguely heard the sound of voices on the balcony. He thanked him and closed the door so as not to disturb Tang Wen's hard work. When he was about to return to his own small dormitory, he saw the glass door of the balcony open and Kai Zongming walk in with a smile. "Damn weather, it's so cold to make a call." Little Ming exhaled a breath of white air when he closed the door. Lu Qing laughed and said, "Don't you know how to video chat in the dormitory? There are people in the dormitory. Some private words are not convenient to say, you know." Kai Zongming deliberately raised his eyebrows. "Dirty." Lu Qing scolded with a smile. "Bah. You're dirty. I'm talking about mushy words of love. What the hell are you thinking? You've been in a relationship recently, so your blood is rushing down." Kai Zongming went all out to ridicule Lu Qing. Lu Qing clicked his tongue and said, "Are your words of love not dirty? You're an old hand." After that, he looked around and said in a low voice, "Casanova, tell me if there's a problem with what I'm doing." He briefly explained that Yenjika was not ready yet, that she accepted his confession after hesitating, that she needed some time to get used to it, and that he had tried to hold her hand successfully today. In the end, he said, "Is this not showing respect to her thoughts? Is this too reckless and impatient?" Kai Zongming snorted and said, "Who asked you to confess randomly? If you follow my steps, there won't be any problems. But you did a good job today. You can't follow the pace of a girl in this kind of thing. You must strike while the iron is hot." "Really?" Lu Qing put on the attitude of a serious student. Kai Zongming smiled with his hands in his pockets and said, "The current state of your goddess is like standing on a swamp, unable to resist the temptation of the world of love below. She has already accepted her fate and given up resistance. She is slowly sinking, but she hasn't adjusted her mentality yet. She wants to slow down and gradually get used to it. If you pull her too fast and let her sink too fast, out of fear, uncertainty, and lack of love, it will indeed cause a reverse mentality. It is very likely that she will start to hate you. But you can't do nothing and let her adjust her mentality by herself. First of all, who knows what she will think after she adjusts? Maybe it will be good or bad. Second of all, as time passes, the effect of feelings will weaken. It is very likely that she will calm down and re-examine herself. At that time, if you want to increase her favorability, it will take twice the effort for half the result. She may even say, "I don't think we are suitable for each other, let's break up." So, you have to take advantage of the current situation and close the distance between you and her within the limit to increase her favorability. This is the meaning of strike while the iron is hot. You can't really not get close to her just because she says no. Sometimes, even she herself doesn't know whether she wants it or not. Lu Qing felt that it was better than 10 years of studying. He nodded sincerely. You are indeed the Casanova, Kai Zongming chuckled and said, accepting the confession means establishing a relationship. Establishing a relationship means holding hands. She won't be too resistant to this and is mentally prepared for it. However, don't go any further than that for the time being, lest you give her too much pressure and cause the opposite effect. Maintain the current trend of getting closer and closer, step by step, and slowly pull her over. Sigh, you're making this foreign dog jealous. It's a pity that you don't have time to go to the capital this semester. Lu Qing looked at little Ming sympathetically. Kai Zongming clicked his tongue and said, if I don't go, she can come. I've already succeeded in bewitching her. This time, I don't need to save money. I have a lot of red packets. Awesome. Lu Qing gave him a thumbs up. By the way, are you ready for tomorrow's competition? As a member of the special training, Kai Zongming asked with concern. Lu Qing nodded and smiled. Almost. I'll think about it again later. Then I'll help you find some audience. Kai Zongming laughed and suddenly went to Lu Cheng's dormitory. He opened the door and said to Zhao Chang, Qiu Zhigao, and Zhang Jingye, who were relaxing at home on the weekend, good news. Good news. Cheng is going to represent Songqing University in the competition tomorrow. Let's go cheer together. Represent Songqing University. Cheng. Zhao Chang looked back in surprise and pushed his black-rimmed glasses. She smiled unconsciously and was about to reply to Lu Cheng's message on QQ when she suddenly remembered something. She opened the browser and entered the search page. Mimi bread. She entered the name of the bakery and wanted to see if the fresh cream cake was as good as Lu Qing said. In the blink of an eye, the search result came out. Yenjika was a little surprised. Because there was no search result of Mimi bread, only related adjectives. Search on the internet. Yenjika seemed to understand something. She lifted the quilt and climbed down. She opened the fresh cream cake on the desk and tasted it. It's not too sweet, but it's just right. Yenjika sat there in a daze, twirling her hair with her left hand and shaking the spoon with her right hand. Her dimples were vaguely visible as she gazed at the cake with tenderness. Chapter 116. The next day, after the morning exercise, Lu Qing finished the meat floss bread and soy milk in the cafeteria. He was very satisfied, as if he was enjoying a bento made with love. Stepping into the martial arts arena, he looked at the scattered crowd and automatically found Yenjika's figure. The girl happened to look at him too. Their eyes met and they smiled at each other, sweet and warm. Biting her lower lip, Yenjika unbuttoned the pocket of her martial arts suit and took out her cell phone. Lowering her head, she ran her fingers through her hair and tapped on the screen quickly. Beep. A QQ message came from Lu Cheng's pocket. He took it out with a smile and unlocked it. Sure enough, it was from the girl. The fresh cream cake is delicious. Yenjika said. As long as you are satisfied. Lu Cheng was full of a sense of achievement. The meat floss bread you picked is also great. Yenjika sent an emoji of a panda scratching its head. Just that I had to brush my teeth one more time. Why did you brush your teeth one more time? Lu Cheng sent a confused emoji. Guess. I'm going to put my things away. Yenjika turned off her phone, looked up and smiled. She went to the women's locker room with Guiqing to lock her mobile phone and other belongings and clothes in her closet. Guess. Did she eat too much sweets and brush her teeth one more time? Or did she eat more sweets after brushing her teeth last night? But she didn't mention this when we were chatting. Lu Qing let his imagination run wild and stepped into the men's locker room. Because there was a competition in the afternoon, the intensity of the special training was reduced to maintain the condition. In the end, the sparring was cancelled. Shi gathered all the members together and curled his lips. Songqing University is so stingy. They only gave us a little subsidy. If it were a better martial arts club, they would have all kinds of sparring partners for targeted training before the competition. But for us, we can only rely on our mouths. If the members of the martial arts club were sparring partners, they would not be targeted because of their similar kung fu characteristics. It would be great if there was a superpower that could create a corresponding figure just by talking. Kai Zhongming muttered softly. Lu Qing glanced at him and laughed in a low voice. Then you would be rich. Who can compete with the talker? Unfortunately, the heavens didn't give me a chance. Kai Zhongming sighed regretfully. Shi coughed twice and said, those kids who are not the main players and substitutes of the preliminaries can leave now. Those who are willing to watch the match can wait at the bus stop at 1:30. Li Xiaowen, this is an away game, so there won't be many spectators. You don't have to organize the cheers. Just help us prepare the logistics. After Yan Zhike was promoted to a substitute for the preliminaries, her former cheerleading duties were handed over to her senior, Li Xiaowen. After the other members of the special training left, Shi said, have you all seen the materials and videos related to Hongluo Martial Arts School? I'll explain it to you briefly and analyze the strategy. You can think about it on your own on the way. Generally speaking, for different opponents, there would be targeted training 2 or 3 days before the match. However, the specific strategy and arrangement would definitely be put in the locker room before the match. This was to prevent spies from betraying information and being controlled by others. The higher the level of the competition, the stricter the security in this aspect. Shi didn't care about the first stage of the preliminaries at all. He also didn't think that Hongluo Martial Arts School would make a fuss about it. Therefore, he explained it in advance to give the green kids enough time to digest it. Seeing that everyone's attention was focused, he laughed and said, Hongluo Martial Arts School is just like this. You don't have to be too nervous. Just follow my arrangement and you have a great chance of winning. You've seen from the videos that Hongluo Martial Arts School's strategy is derived from the unique skill of the fire sect, called fire-like invasion. It emphasizes momentum and explosion. If they explode to the extreme, they have the power of a professional 7th or 8th pin Dan stage fighter. However, this level of explosion can't be used at will. They have to adjust their situation bit by bit and receive feedback time and time again. They have to let their body gradually compress and accumulate power like a spring. Therefore, the core of this strategy is to use small explosions to promote a higher level of explosion. They accumulate power step by step until they reach the extreme. Generally speaking, after 8 explosions, the 9th attack will be an invincible attack for those below the Dan stage. However, they are still humans, not living gods. After 1 round of explosion, they will basically wither. It's like a burning flame that continues to ignite other things and becomes fiercer and fiercer. When it burns everything around it, it will extinguish itself. From this point of view, this is a strategy that is quite suitable for a life and death battle. The winner will be decided in a few moves. After analyzing up to this point, you must be thinking, then let's fight with a wandering battle and exhaust them until they are exhausted. However, for those who choose this strategy, unless they are extremely agile and are extremely good at wandering battle, when Hongluo Martial Arts School explodes a few times with terrifying speed and agility, their range of movement will be quickly reduced and they will fall into an awkward situation where they can't escape. Lu Qing nodded slightly. He had a deep understanding of this. In the battle with Yi Yaoding and the 9th pin of the Dark Sect, he had tried to fight with a wandering battle with mercurial balance. However, he was either forced to fight head-on or had no chance to fight at all. Geezer coughed a few times and got to the point. For this strategy, the best way to deal with it is to fight head-on. You have to disrupt their explosive rhythm and suppress their momentum so that their explosions will become more and more unsatisfactory. He explained in detail how to disrupt their rhythm and suppress their momentum. Lu Qing and the others listened with great interest. Before they knew it, it was already noon. After lunch and a short rest, Lu Qing arrived at the school bus station on time and boarded a school bus specially arranged by the logistics department. Yenjika was too shy to sit in the same row with him in front of so many acquaintances. She pulled Guiqing and found a seat for themselves. Lu Qing had to sit behind them with little Ming. He didn't speak much on the way and began to adjust his state of mind and state. When they arrived, he opened his eyes. Hey, Cheng, Chang and the others have good luck with women. Kai Zongming held his phone and tactfully didn't speak. Instead, he typed a line of words and sent it to Lu Qing through QQ. Lu Qing replied in surprise, "Why?" Model worker only wanted to ask his girlfriend out. However, the girls in his girlfriend's dormitory heard about it and were very interested. They also want to come and have a look. Later, they will set off with Chang and Old Chiu. Kai Zongming sent the message while looking at Lu Qing with a mischievous expression. Not bad, such a good thing. Lu Qing replied quickly. He put his phone in his pocket and was ready to stand up. They had arrived at their destination. Hongluo Martial Arts School was located on the ground floor of a building. It was a quiet place amidst the bustle and the environment was quite good. Lu Qing observed the situation. When Guiqing walked into the aisle, he suddenly stood up and squeezed forward. He happened to be right next to Yenjika. He looked forward, as if nothing had happened, and stretched out his hand to pull the girl's delicate palm. Yenjika was surprised at first and then looked at Lu Qing. She saw a faint smile at the corner of his mouth. He turned his head and winked at her. She felt funny and angry at the same time. She blushed slightly and pretended that nothing had happened. She held his hand back and hurriedly withdrew it. She looked around and found that no one had noticed. Then she felt an indescribable sweetness. Lu Qing, who was also feeling sweet, followed the team full of strength and stepped into the gate of Hongluo Martial Arts School. The martial arts school definitely couldn't compete with Songqing University Martial Arts Club. It was only about the size of 2 lecture halls. Wang Hui glanced at Jiang Guixing, Fang Tong, and Pan Qingyun, who all had different expressions, and smiled slightly. Qingyun, you'll be the last one to come out. Give them a surprise, but maybe it won't be your turn, so we'll leave the surprise for later. Fang Tong, you'll be the vanguard. Make sure you win at the start. Guixing, you'll be the second. If anything happens, you'll be responsible for stabilizing the situation. Yes, Master, Grandmaster. The 3 professional 9th pin fighters answered in unison. Wang Hui nodded with satisfaction. He pointed outside the locker room and said loudly, "Go, show your strength and elegance." In the Songqing University Martial Arts Club, Geezer clapped his hands to wake everyone up. He smiled seriously, which was rare for him. The first battle, Lu Qing. I'll be the first. Lu Qing was not nervous. Instead, he trembled with excitement. He secretly glanced at Yenjika, only to see that she was also looking at him and making a gesture of encouragement. Geezer continued, "Lu Qing, you'll be the first one to come out. Test their strength. If anything happens, Lin K will be behind you. Don't worry. Lin K, watch the battle carefully and know what to do. Sun Jian, you'll be the last one to come out. Maybe you can take advantage of their exhaustion. Okay, let's go out." Lu Qing and the others looked at each other. No one organized, and no one led them. Suddenly, they opened their mouths and shouted together, "Victory!" After shouting, Lu Qing took the lead and walked out in a line. In front of them were the audience sitting on the tatami, the arranged cameras, and the enemies coming out of the locker room opposite them. P.S. I'll be updating in advance on Monday. I'll be saving my manuscripts tomorrow. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.